Generally, when people talk about homeschooling, there is a misconception that all homeschoolers are socially isolated from the outside world. I am Taiwanese. 1 in 1,000 Taiwanese people are homeschooled, and I was one of them. I was homeschooled for the duration of my middle school years, and I had my own misconceptions too. I always thought that, homeschooling was for super smart people, people who are different, people who are isolated and introverted. Throughout my years of homeschooling, I came to understand that all of these misconceptions are wrong. My name is Grace, and this is how homeschooling broke my filter bubble. I had always been going to the same school since kindergarten. I saw the same people and went to the same classrooms. I then made the transition to homeschooling, and it completely changed my life. I lost my routines, my hideouts where I would meet my friends. And since I had so much free time, my brother and I started to go swimming at a community sports center in the morning. We were always the only teenagers at that hour, and were surrounded by elderly people. In the very beginning, this was very foreign to me. I wasn't used to being around so many old people at once. None of them expected people my age to be at the swimming pool at 6 in the morning either, as all the other kids would be getting ready to go to school, or they might still be in bed. And there I would have random conversations, which mainly consisted of people asking me why I wasn't getting ready to school, but swimming here instead, with confused and curious looks on their faces. Well, something that stood out to me was how these conversations never ended with something like, I do homeschool or I don't go to school, but instead they ended with exchanges of laughter and knowledge. I can still remember some of the things they would tell me. For example, a grandma once told me about a story about some random kids breaking up, while another told me about how little they get to see their grandchildren. Even though these conversations didn't really relate to me, it really helped me to understand the elderly community more. I hadn't realized what life from their perspective looked like. Well, even with my own grandparents, before I started to go swimming, it never occurred to me how much they wanted us to reach out to them. And that was the first time I felt my bubble dissolving. Now, what do I mean by filter bubble? The dictionary definition of a filter bubble is a situation in which someone only sees or hears the information that supports what they already believe and accept. A simple example would be the different results that pop up on search engines and social media. You and your friend could be searching for the same thing. For example, in this case, my friend and I both search up the term Hong Kong protest. And the different results pop up because of the different things we have looked at in the past. So the word filter bubble, this word, is originated from the online world. But today, I'll be talking about how it exists in the real world too. My filter bubble used to be my school, my group of friends, my extracurriculars, and all the other things I do that add on to my personal beliefs and views of the world. In my old school, students normally come from similar background, and therefore each of us uphold the same common value. Raise your hand if you agree. So the people in your friend group usually have beliefs that align with yours or each other. The activities you practice shapes the way you perceive the world. So all of these things were added on to become my filter bubble. Now looking back, my interaction with the elders were not just dissolving my bubble, it was dissolving theirs as well. While, homeschooling is a pretty new thing in the world, especially in Asia, where the elders know little about it. So talking about being homeschooled and not going to school gave me a chance to expand their worldviews. And I soon realized while my perspectives were being made broader through these conversations, so was theirs. Through homeschooling, I got to go on many volunteering trips. One of the trips was situated in Hualien, a rural area in Taiwan where I joined with my friends. And so the lady that chaperoned us was annoyed and unhappy throughout the whole time. It was because of our city pace. as the lady was from a rural area where people often lived a slow life. They performed and spoke their routines at different speeds to us. We were raised in the city, and we ran our day with that city rush energy, and this was unfamiliar to her. It was eye-opening to me, seeing how different people can be, despite speaking the same language and sharing the same culture. The trip turned out to be very successful, where the lady later apologized to us. It was her first time bringing younger people on a volunteering trip, and it was new to her to see young people being as capable as adults. We were able to spend an enjoyable time with the people there, building a connection that supported them. And this time around, I saw another person's bubble dissolve. When your filter bubble is broken, your understanding of your surroundings and the world is enriched. The conversations you have with the different people you meet create more lenses that you can see through, influencing the way you perceive the world. The current world is changing rapidly, where diversity is in excess. Look around this room. You can see this diversity among you. We tend to, limit ourselves within our own small little world, within our small circle of friends, with the things that we're familiar with, when actually it is so simple to step out of that comfort zone. To create relevant changes anywhere, we must have the ability to grasp and understand ideas through many perspectives. While, dissolving your bubble may seem hard and unnecessary, although through small and new interactions, your life without a filter bubble can be very rewarding. In the contemporary world, we're losing connections with so many people around us by being in our social bubble. How often do you guys have conversation with your neighbors? Well, I would assume not much. We're so enclosed in our bubble that we don't realize the things that are pulling us further away from the community we actually live in. Things like your phone, social media blocks us from building real connection with the people around us. And these bubbles need to be loosened up, and there are so many ways to do so. We can simply start by caring a little bit more about the people around us. We all say the world should be a nicer place, but what we don't realize is that nice things are actually within our reach. Okay, now, imagine you're having a bad day, and you decided to get some coffee. Okay, a bad day, not a good one. And you're waiting in line, and the person in front of you say, "Hey, how are you?" Well, even if it's someone you don't know, wouldn't you feel a little better? This feeling can be a catalyst for more positive interactions with more people, a ripple effect. When we receive something, in this case, the feeling of being loved and cared for, we're pushed to give the same experience to others. As cliche as it sounds, being trapped in your own bubble makes you miss out on so many things. Breaking your filter bubble not only gives you a chance to expand your worldviews, just like I did when I was swimming with the elderly people, but it also does the same for others. The next time you walk into your neighbors, or right now, talk to the people around you and just say, "Hey, how was your day?" Well, it's not that hard, right? And I hope it was good. So just simply start up a conversation. And who knows where it might take you. Your actions will influence the people around you, which can radiate positive ripples to many more. We don't lose anything by stepping out of our filter bubble, except for ignorance. And we should all be breaking our filter bubble. Thank you.